Are you or someone you love living in the US without legal papers, always looking over your shoulder, worried about what tomorrow might bring? Well, listen closely, because something big is happening in 2025, and it could completely change your life. Right now, a powerful new immigration bill is gaining traction in Washington, and if it passes, it could finally open the door to permanent legal status for millions of undocumented immigrants. Yes, you heard that right. Millions. This isn't just political talk. It's a real proposal with real potential. Imagine finally being able to apply for a work permit, travel freely without fear, or even qualify for health benefits and retirement programs like Social Security. Imagine living without the daily stress of deportation. That dream could finally be within reach. And here's the best part. This bill isn't just aimed at young people or recent arrivals. It could offer a pathway to protection for older, undocumented adults who have lived, worked, and contributed to American society for decades. But there's a catch. Most people don't even know this bill exists. And with so much misinformation out there, it's more important than ever to get the facts. So stay with me, because in this video, we're going to break down exactly what this bill says, who qualifies, and how it could affect you or your family. If you care about your future or someone else's, don't scroll away. Give this video a like so more people in our community can see this important information. Together, we can stay informed, stay strong, and prepare for what could be a brand new chapter in your life. Now, let's talk about what this 2025 immigration bill is really all about, and why so many people are calling it one of the most compassionate, life-changing proposals we've seen in decades. First of all, I want to be very clear. This bill isn't just some small update or political stunt. No, this is a serious proposal being discussed in Congress right now, and it has the power to transform the lives of millions of undocumented immigrants, especially older adults who have been living in the shadows for far too long. So many of you have written in, telling me stories that honestly break my heart. You've worked here for 20, 30, even 40 years. You've raised families, paid taxes, helped your communities grow. Yet, despite all that, you're still treated like you don't belong. You live with constant fear of being separated from your children or grandchildren, of being deported, of losing everything you've built. That's not fair. It's not humane. And finally, it seems like someone in Washington is starting to listen. This new bill, officially called the Pathway to Stability and Dignity Act of 2025, is focused on giving long-term undocumented immigrants a real opportunity to gain lawful status. It's being pushed forward by a group of lawmakers who say it's time to fix a system that's been broken for too long. And you know what? They're absolutely right. The bill proposes a clear, structured path to legal residency for undocumented people who have lived in the U.S. for at least 10 years. That includes seniors, people like you, who have been part of this country's fabric for decades. Now, I know what you're probably wondering. What does this actually mean for me? How does this help someone like me who's older and undocumented? Great questions, and the answers are more hopeful than you might think. If this bill passes, undocumented immigrants who meet certain criteria, like no serious criminal record, long-term residence, and community involvement, could apply for legal status and eventually qualify for a green card. That green card opens up so many doors. You'd be able to live without fear, work legally, access public programs, and yes, even qualify for things like Social Security and Medicare, which are so important as we age. Think about that for a moment. Imagine finally going to the doctor without wondering if you'll be asked for proof of status. Imagine being able to visit family members in your home country and return to the U.S. without worrying about getting stuck outside. For many seniors, this isn't just about immigration, it's about dignity, health, and finally being able to breathe freely. Now, I want to be real with you. This bill isn't a done deal yet. It still has to make its way through committees, debates, and votes. But here's the important part. It's gaining serious momentum. And more Americans, citizens and immigrants alike, are supporting the idea that people who have lived here peacefully for many years should be given a chance to stay legally. This is especially true for seniors who've given so much of themselves to this country without ever getting the recognition they deserve. And here's something that might surprise you. There's growing bipartisan support for helping older undocumented immigrants. Why? Because lawmakers are finally realizing that deporting grandmothers and grandfathers who've lived here for 30 years doesn't make America safer or stronger, it just tears families apart. And let's be honest, many seniors aren't just undocumented. They're integral parts of families, churches, communities, and neighborhoods. You are caregivers, volunteers, even childcare providers for your grandchildren while the younger parents work. You matter. What's especially heartening about this bill is that it considers age and length of stay as important factors. The longer you've been here, the more rooted you are, and the more likely you are to qualify for legal status under this proposal. So for seniors who came to the US in the 1990s or early 2000s and never left, this could be your moment. It could mean finally stepping into the light after so many years in the shadows. Another key part of the bill focuses on healthcare. Lawmakers are discussing whether newly legalized seniors should be given access to programs like Medicaid and even Medicare once they reach the age of 65. Can you imagine? For years, you may have had to avoid getting help or pay out of pocket just to see a doctor. But if this bill moves forward, that could change dramatically. Not only would you have access to care, you could do so without fear. That's something you can't put a price on. Now, I want to pause for a second and talk directly to those of you who are watching and thinking, this sounds too good to be true. I get it. After years of broken promises, it's hard to believe something this hopeful could actually happen. But remember, every big change in history started with people believing that change was possible. This moment feels different because the conversation is finally shifting. Politicians are talking about undocumented immigrants not just as a problem to fix, but as people with lives, families, and stories that matter. And your voice matters too. You have the power to help push this bill forward by staying informed, talking to others in your community, and reaching out to your representatives. Even just liking this video and sharing it with your family or neighbors can make a difference. The more people who understand what's at stake, the harder it becomes for lawmakers to ignore it. Now, I also want to touch on something personal, something many undocumented seniors deal with but rarely talk about: the emotional toll. Living in fear for decades takes a real toll on your mind and body. The anxiety, the stress, the feeling of being invisible, it adds up. This bill doesn't just offer paperwork. It offers a chance at emotional relief, at peace, and at recognition. And that's something every human being deserves, especially after a lifetime of contribution. If you're someone who's undocumented and in your 60s or 70s, you've likely spent your life working hard, staying out of trouble, and giving back to the country you now call home. You shouldn't have to live your golden years looking over your shoulder. You should be planning birthday parties with your grandkids, going for walks in the park, and maybe even traveling a bit, not worrying about ICE knocking on your door. That's why this bill matters so much. And for the children and grandchildren watching this video, maybe your abuela or abuelo doesn't speak much English, or maybe they're too nervous to ask questions, you can be their advocate. Help them understand what this bill means. Sit with them, talk about their options, and let them know they are not alone. You'd be surprised how powerful a simple conversation can be. So, what's next? Well, in the coming weeks and months, we'll be watching closely as this bill moves through the legislative process. I'll be right here, updating you with every new development, breaking it down in simple language, and answering your questions along the way. Because you deserve to know what's happening, and you deserve someone who's on your side. Now, if you've made it this far in the video, thank you. Seriously, thank you for caring, for staying informed, and for being part of this community. These are the kinds of stories that don't make headlines, but they're the ones that really matter. And if you believe that seniors, regardless of immigration status, deserve dignity, peace, and a chance to live without fear, then I invite you to like this video. When you click that thumbs up, it helps more people see this message. It tells the YouTube algorithm that this is important. And trust me, it is. Together, we can raise our voices and bring attention to something that could finally offer justice to the people who've waited a lifetime for it. The road ahead isn't easy, but with hope, determination, and community, we just might get there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe, stay strong, and never stop believing that change is possible.